So the good news is the first several lessons of chapter 6 for most of you will be pretty easy because I've already went over this about a month ago with you guys, because it's about translations, transformations, rotations, reflections as we move along here. And so chapter 6.1 is just analyzing translations, which you guys are already somewhat familiar with. So for example, 1 here, they're talking about, what are they moving here, a fire pit or something. And it says the architect translates or slides the fire pit 6 feet to the right and 3 feet away from the house. And this is important to remember, and we've talked about this before. A transformation is a change in not only the location, but it could be a different shape or size of the figure. A translation is you're just moving that figure, but nothing changes. It stays the same shape and the same size. There isn't any kind of rotation or reflection going on. And those two words are similar, look similar, but you'll need to know the definition specifically for each one. And then the try it down below here, I just left a question mark, don't worry about it. It says the clients also want a small table below the window moved 5 feet to the right. I think they're talking about this. I'm not really sure. It says, where should the architect place the small table? Well, it would be 5 feet to the right, but then as I look at this, it says draw the new location of the table on the plan. Well, I'm assuming this is the plan here they're talking about, but there isn't any kind of scale. So I'm just assuming they want the table here. Oh wait, the small table below the window moved 5 feet to the right. I just moved it to the left, but maybe this is the table they're talking about here. Actually, now that I look at it a second time, but I can't see that says a window anywhere. So, anyways, the whole thing was kind of confusing. So I'm not really worried about it. You can just kind of scratch that out. But I did write down the convince me for you guys, and you should have copied it down. It says an equilateral triangle with side lengths of 5 inches is translated 3 units down and 2 units to the right. It says describe the shape and dimensions of the translated figure. Well, when something is translated, if we go back to that definition here, it doesn't change its shape, its size, all the angle measures, nothing changes. And so the answer to that question is the translated figure is still an equilateral triangle, and the sides are 5 inches each. So nothing has changed. Top of page. Prime and D prime. And after, let's see here, its image has been translated 8 units down and 3 units to the left. Well, they've done that for us here. They moved it 8 down and 3 to the left. And so when you draw your new figure, you would label all the vertices prime. And right here it's just talking about the angles. It says, this first one here, it says M angle A, which means the measure of angle A, and here's angle A, and here's a measure. I don't know what it is. The measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle A prime. They're exactly the same. The angles don't change when it's a translation. Example 3. It says, what is a rule that describes the translation that maps trapezoid PQRS onto trapezoid PQRS prime? Each vertex of trapezoid PQRS is translated 1.5 units to the right and 2 units up. Well, how could you figure that out? If you just picked one of the points and you saw, looks like it's going to go 1, 2 up and then 1.5 to the right. So when you're trying to figure that out between two figures, just pick a vertex, pick a point, and start counting. Let's look at the triad on the bottom of page 311. It says triangle ABC is translated 5 units to the right and 1 unit down. It says graph and label the image of ABC prime. And then it says if the measure of angle A is 30 degrees, what is the measure of angle A? I think they meant to put A, oh, I can barely see it right there, A prime. Well, let's just do the translation they're talking about, so you guys can do this with me here. It says triangle ABC is translated 5 units to the right and 1 down. So I'm just going to start with something easy here at A. I'm going to go 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down 1. And I'm going to put a dot right there, and I'm going to label it A prime. And then I'll do C. 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1. And I'll label that C prime. And then B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1. And that would be B prime. Now I'm going to draw it. And so I ask everybody to get a straight edge earlier, and you can do the same. And the question is, if the measure of angle A, so here's angle A right here, is 30 degrees, what is the measure of angle A prime? It's also 30 degrees. A prime equals 30 degrees. Questions on this, anybody? No? Okay. Page 312, number 1. I just drew the arrow up there. Translation or a slide is a transformation that moves every point of a figure to the same distance in the same direction. And so that's the question they've asked in number 1, and you can just copy that down there. Number 2, it says triangle LMN prime is the image of triangle LMN. And actually, I don't think that was, oh yeah, I didn't talk about that. In example 2 here, when you translate a figure, the new figure is called an image. Okay, I didn't point that out earlier. So going back to number 2 here, it says it's the image of triangle LMN. Makes sense after a translation. How are the side lengths and angle measures of the triangles related? Well, we're talking about a translation. Does anything change? No. The measures of angles LMN and LMN prime are exactly the same. And so that's what you would put there. Number 3, Sanjay determined that one vertex of a figure was mapped to its image by translating the point 2 units to the left and 7 units down. What is the rule that maps the other vertices of the figure to their images? Well, let's see here. The rule would be, gosh, I don't know if they gave a specific rule, but well, I guess this is it right here. Every point of a figure moves the same distance in the same direction in a translation. So that would be the answer to number 3. Circle 4, 5, and 6. I want you to do those. I think those are all pretty self-explanatory. And looks like for all of them you would be referencing this figure here. Circle 7 and 8, 9 and 10. I already gave you the answer to. It says the vertices of figure QRST are translated 3 units to the left and 11 units down to form QRST prime. Explain the similarities and differences between the two figures. Well, now you understand what I wrote. I put down the two figures have the exact same shape, size, and angle measure. And the difference is they're in different locations. That's the only difference. 11 here, it's going to be similar to something we did a couple minutes ago in the, what page was that? This one right here, the try it, bottom of page 311. It says graph the image of the triangle after a translation of 3 units up and 2 units down. And I'm going to go a little step further here, and you guys are going to have to write this down. I'm going to call this A, and I'm going to call this B, and I'm going to call this C. So when you create the new image, it's going to be A prime, B prime, C prime. So 12, circle A and B. 13. Yeah, okay, so it says a farmer has a plot of land shaped like the figure in the graph. There's another identical plot of land 120 yards to the east and 100 yards north of the original plot. Well, let's see here. A, it says draw the image after the given translation. I'm thinking this is the original. And if you were to zoom in on this, you would see that each mark is, I guess, what are we talking about? Yards. So here's 10, 20, 30, 40. No. It's got to be by 20. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. There's 120 yards. So each one of these is 20 yards. So it says draw the image after the given translation. And so let's see here. It looks like they've done it for us. There's another identical plot of land 120 yards east. Here's east going that way. So that would be 120. And then 100 yards north is north. So they've already drawn it, right? It's right here. So that's kind of confusing. So that's done. Then it says, find the combined area of the two plots in square yards. Well, hopefully you remember the formula for area. Area equals length times width.
So we do that like the answer square yards?
So write down what it is. Don't forget, in square yards. No, it says the combined area. So of both of them. Okay. So you're adding up the original and the image. Okay? And then 14, mark each one that applies. And then 15, A, B, and C. I want you to do all 3 of those.
First one was 2 parts in it, 3 parts in it. That's how we've done.
First one with 3, really? Okay. All right. Questions on any of this?
Well, in this lesson, right?
What's that? Yeah, I think I did mark every single one of them. Yeah. But I think a lot of this is review for you guys. It should be pretty easy. All right, I'm going to end the video here.